I just got home 15 minutes ago from seeing Project Hail Mary the day it came out in the theaters. And the question is it the best movie of the year? I'm going to give you a couple of reasons why I think it is, and a couple of reasons why I think it's not going to stay that way. There are basically two things that stick out to me big time after seeing it. One is Ryan Gosling is the person you want to hire if you want a film to be funny and charismatic and charming and you want someone to really carry the film. He's a guarantee. The second thing is, I wasn't really expecting this to be so kid friendly. It's not all that way, but there's basically two sides to the film. One, I'm sitting there thinking, this feels like a very beautiful, cinematic, serious piece about the fate of the world, of existence, kind of in a similar vein of Castaway, where a guy's kind of isolated and he's got this one thing he's hanging on to and he's figuring things out. And also Arrival, where you're trying to figure out, yeah, okay, so you come in contact with an alien, then what? How are you going to talk? That kind of seriousness. But then there's also the other side, which is the Disney side, which is the humor and the charming nature of the alien rock, the buddy. And I'm not saying that they're bad things. They are good things. I just wasn't expecting it. I think they did a great job of combining these two elements, sort of this, we'll call them the Arrival element and the Disney element, and making them perfectly merge together where you're cutting back and forth. You know how in like maybe Star Wars or Stranger Things, they're great at pacing where they're cutting from one to the other. Let's see what Dusty Buns is doing. Let's see what Steve's doing. And you kind of pick everyone up to the same thing. They kind of do that well. Like they go back and forth when you're getting a lot of sentimental, happy-go-lucky Disney humor kind of thing. It then kind of shifts back to the seriousness of the situation. And I think it does a pretty good job. I do think it probably leans a little bit too much into the Disney side of it for my tastes. But again, that's my expectation being projected onto this beautiful film that I saw. And it is a beautiful film. The music is fantastic. The sounds are incredible. The actors are great. It's a great story. It's a story about hope, and for me to sort of sit there and think like, well, it should be more like Apocalypse Now. I don't want to do that. Because as much as I love Apocalypse Now, and I just watched Apocalypse Now Redux this week, which blew me away, I don't want to be that kind of person where I can't sit in a movie theater and not enjoy something that was intended for both of us. Because there are some great movies out there that are like that. And I don't want something to fall short of my weird projection or expectation on what a movie should be. I was just kind of taken aback. I didn't expect it to be that sentimental and that full of humor in that kind of way. And if I had done my research into the directors, there are two of them. I don't know how that works. How do you have two directors? I don't get it. But both of them have a background in that type of Pixar thing or Disney thing, like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. And some of those are great movies, So if I had seen that, I probably would have thought, oh, this is going to be that kind of thing, I guess. But I didn't. I went into it thinking I was watching something that was going to be epic. The trailers in the movie were the Odyssey and something else that was big. But the Odyssey, so it puts you in that mode of like, I was thinking I was going to see maybe one of the greatest pictures of all time, the way people were talking. And I don't think they're wrong I don't think it's not a great film. It is. It's just that weird expectation thing I had going into it, which I tried not to watch any trailers about it. I don't know if the trailers necessarily gave you a good hint of what was coming. I'd have to go back and watch them. My memory is no, that you kind of thought you were going to watch something. Now don't blast me in the comments here if like you see something like Gravity, and I don't remember at all what I expected of Gravity, but I remember enjoying the movie. But it wasn't like it wasn't 2001: A Space Odyssey. I mean, what kind of things are? And we can have a debate of whether that's actually the kind of movie that's been blown up to bigger than it that maybe is as well. I go back and forth on that one. If you've seen this channel, you've seen me talk about that before. I don't know where I stand on Kubrick sometimes. Sometimes I really love him, and other times I'm like, But let me say this. Do I think it's the best movie of the year? I think so. And I say that for two reasons. One, it's beautiful. Two, it's a great story. And everybody in it is very likable for all the things they have. And when that, I'm going to give a little bit of a spoiler here, but it's not a big one. When they're doing karaoke before they're on a suicide mission, they're on a one-way ticket to wherever they're going to save the world, right? And that sort of East German boss lady gets up there and sings karaoke. I was in it, man. You didn't need to do anything else besides show me that moment of her singing, because it was fantastic, and it makes me love that song even more. I think it was Harry Styles. Somebody put it in the chats, but I can look it up. But it was fantastic. And to sit there and say that I didn't get emotional would be a complete lie. And I know I wasn't the only one. This sort of sacrifice that gets made multiple times in the film is just tugs on your heartstrings, you know, and it makes you think about all the things that are going on in your life that, that maybe you could step up and be a better person in light of what you're seeing on the screen in front of you, all these great heroic things that are being shown to you. You start to think like, this is a great thing. What's happening? How can I help? What can I do? And then the moments where things get somber really hit you very hard. Now, again, this is where the Disney part comes in, because it swoops up, at the end. And by the way, I'm putting spoilers in here. I'm not going to say too much about it. I just kind of wanted to give my overall take. I do think it's the best movie of the year so far. I don't think it'll stay that way. I think the Odyssey at least will knock it off, and there'll be other things. It'll probably get nominated next year for an Oscar. I don't know how those tend to fare when it comes to the Oscars. I think they like serious shit, I think they like things to get up to 1.21 gigawatts. The last thing I want to say is this really has me thinking about, I love those moments of discovery where science, like Contact with Jodie Foster, where they sort of figure out, or Deep Impact, where they figure out an asteroid's coming. This is one of those things where the sun is dying because of these things that are happening somewhere around Neptune, wherever it is. And you just think to yourself, we are so fragile here. How do we know how much time we have on this planet? We were saying like, oh, the Big Bang started with this. We know it's Saturn's made of copper and like barbecue sauce. We have no idea. How do we know that? Okay, I'm not saying I don't believe in science. Of course I do. But how do we really know what this is at the core? Anyway, so it seems very plausible and believable to me that something like this, maybe not this specific instance, but something like this could happen, where we get a report that says solar flares or an unexpected asteroid or some sort of weird magnetic explosion, and life as we know it is hanging in the balance. These are those real moments that we could really envision that happening, right? I mean, couldn't we see that? And I think that's one of the things this movie does really well, is I think everybody kind of, I don't know if it's a morbid curiosity or fascination, but those moments where things happen that everything's on the line. So I think this movie does that really well. It's shot really beautifully. The sound's great. I'd say it's a high recommendation to go see. Just know what you're getting into. Maybe that won't matter. Maybe it shouldn't matter at all. Maybe I'm sort of hammering that point unnecessarily. I don't know. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great movie. I do think it's the best movie of the year. Ryan Gosling is amazing. He's so funny. That's the dude right there. All right. Project Hail Mary. It's a good one.